Hi, guys. It's me, Wendy Taylor. I'm coming on today to talk to you about the Whole 30 since we're going into National Diet Month here in January. So I wanted to say hello. I've got my cup of tea. If you guys are hopping on, I want you to say hi, tell me where you're from, and leave me a comment so I can see the comments. I'm using StreamYard. If you're catching the replay later, remember to hashtag replay so I can come back and I can chat with you guys. So thank you guys for joining me today. As always, if you're hopping on, say hi. I'm going to look at my comments and I'm going to talk today about the Whole 30. So I'm going to watch in the comments for you as I go through. I love to make these interactive, chat back and forth with y'all, know who's coming on. So let me know, say hi. I'm Wendy Taylor. If you don't know me, I'm registered dietitian, food and body image coach. So I'm so glad you're hopping on with me today to talk about the Whole 30. January is there's a lot of noise. It's National Diet Month. And today I wanted to debunk one of the most popular diets, the Whole 30. Now, I've dug into this diet from every angle, and I feel like if you're in my Facebook group and you know ditching diets together, we're always talking about ditching the diet mentality, but I think it's important to educate you guys, especially going into this month, because some of you guys might be on the fence. Some of you might be thinking about a certain diet or trying a certain diet. So I think it's important to give you all the facts, to just lay it all out there. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to walk through the pros with you guys, the cons from what I can see from a dietitian's perspective, the pros and the cons, and then some major takeaways that I have and final thoughts for you on this diet. But I also want to share a case study with you from someone that I have had personally as a client, and she has shared her story with me of how she felt when she was on the Whole 30. So I want you to stay tuned for that. If you're hopping on, say hi, let me know you've joined me so I can see you in the comments. And we're going to get started now. First of all, I want to start out with what is the Whole 30? It's been around for a while, so you probably know, but I think I'm going to give you a really short, quick overview of what exactly the Whole 30 is. So I've dug into this book, you guys. It's a program, and it was created by actually two nutritionists in 2009. And they say that this is not a diet, but it's really a short-term reset that eliminates food groups. And why they're doing this is to see what food groups might be adversely affecting your body, and they want to give your body time to heal. So that's essentially what the Whole 30 is, or what they say, these nutritionists say that's doing in this book. So after a period of clean eating, you basically have foods that have been off limits, and then you reintroduce one at a time to see if any of these foods trigger a reaction. And honestly, guys, this is what we call an elimination diet. They don't call it that, but that's what it is. So the book says the focus is on really whole unprocessed foods, animal protein, vegetables, a little bit of fruits, nuts, and healthy fats. So I'm going to read off the things that you're going to be avoiding if you choose to go on the Whole 30. So you'll be avoiding things like grains, legumes, dairy, sugar, artificial sugars, alcohol, and certain additives. Okay. Guys, that's a lot. That's a lot of food to restrict. That's a long list. So that was my thought as I was reading that, as I was going through it. They say the rules in the book are simple yet strict, And basically, you eat a lot of seafood and meats and vegetables, eggs, a little fruit, and plenty of natural fats. So that's kind of what the diet looks like. They say that you want to eat a few foods. You don't want to eat foods that contain unpronounceable ingredients. So that's one of the things that is on the list as well. So if you're joining me, we're talking about Whole30, and I'm giving you the general overview. Say hi, let me know who you are, where you're from. I love to chat with you if you have any questions. Have you ever tried the Whole30? If you have, give me an emoji, let me know. Okay, so there are lots of foods on the to be avoided list, even in small amounts, even for 30 days. So all of this is based on the premise, okay, you guys, that sugar, grains, dairy, alcohol, and legumes, that's anything in the bean family, they affect our weight, they affect our energy, and they affect our stress levels, per the book. They even say that losing weight is not a focus. So this is an elimination diet, really, to sum it all up. And my thoughts as I was going through this overview and putting it together for you guys was like, wow. As I kept reading, all of the foods that are restricted on this program, I just kept thinking that's a whole lot of foods to cut out that are on this do not eat list. So there really are a whole lot of foods to cut out on this program. It's very restrictive. And I think that's easy to forget sometimes in our culture today, because some of these foods, a lot of these foods that are on the list, we cut out anyway. A lot of people cut out these foods anyway. So the bottom line, though, is there's a lot of restriction going on. The next thing I kind of want to jump into today, why would somebody want to do this? A lot of people want to do it. Actually, I hear from a lot of you guys ask me, that's why I wanted to talk about Whole30 first. And I would love to welcome in the comments any other diets you would like for me to talk about as we enter January. So why would somebody want to do the Whole30? According to the book, 3 things. Digestive health, to heal your digestive tract. 2, balance your immune system, and to eliminate food cravings. So I was very surprised because there was some other ones, and I do want to mention this. I was very surprised when I found out that they claimed that this program, this Whole30 program, would heal your relationship with food. And it's funny because they say it's not about weight loss, but they talk an awful lot about weight loss throughout the book. So calorie counting specifically, getting on a scale, those are not part of the program at all. But it does mention throughout the book that you will improve your weight. You will have more energy. So it's very weight centric. It's focused heavily on this, even though it claims that it's not about weight loss. I'm going to, as a dietitian, just lay it all out on the line, and I've I don't know how to say this word, objectional opinion. Anyway, I'm going to lay out the pros and the cons for you guys. Objective opinion, that's what I mean to say. Okay, so I did see some pros, and I'm going to kind of go through those with you guys. Some pros were that it encourages us to eat whole unprocessed food, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that is a pro on any level, really. There's no weighing, there's no measuring of food or your body, so that is a pro. There's no fasting, there's no complicated meal timing or food combining. There are no special products, no supplements that you have to go buy. I honestly think it could teach some people meal planning, such as how to cook, how to read labels, that sort of thing. It does encourage a support team as well. So what it means by support team, a therapist or a doctor, it encourages them to be involved. And I think that this is a really good idea. I wholeheartedly agree with that. So that being said, those are all the pros that I saw. I want to go into some cons with you guys. But before I get to the cons, I want to just tell you that there was one thing that I found to be the most problematic of all. And before I jump to those, I'm going to see, okay, no comments yet today, but if you guys have any, let me know. If you've done the Whole30, put Whole30 in the comments so I can see, or any other diet that you want me to talk about going forward. But the number one thing that I found to be the most problematic is that it kept saying this was not a weight loss program. But according to them, the weight loss benefits were profound. So they kept talking about it throughout the book. According to the book, a large percentage of the participants lost weight. The author said that weight loss, you guys, quote, the author said that weight loss was good for everyone and anyone could benefit from weight loss. So I found this to be really problematic. I'm going to roll through some cons with you guys that I did see in terms of the program. Okay, number one, it's very restrictive. So when you're cutting out so many foods and or food groups, you're bound to undereat. So undereating it's actually causing our body more inflammation. And the point of the Whole30 and this whole program is to reduce inflammation. So your body needs energy to actually function, to do its daily functions. Let me give you some examples. Your body needs energy to pump blood to the heart. Your body needs energy to keep your hormones in balance. Your body needs energy to regenerate cells, so your skin and all the cells of your body. So if you aren't eating enough, this is a huge stressor on your body, and it can cause your bodily functions to slow down. I see this most commonly in two areas with women that I work with. And many times they come to me and these bodily systems have slowed down, and the two things that I see slowing down the most are digestion and their hormones. So it activates this fight or flight mechanism that tells our body to send up cortisol. And what's that? That's our body's stress hormone. So if you guys experience any of this, digestive or hormones, I want you to type stress in the comments and let me know. Okay, number two, going into that, the second biggest con that I saw with this diet is how stressful that it can be. So when I'm talking about stressful, how stressful it can be, I'm talking about all the meal prepping and the meal planning that you're going to be doing on this program. So if you can't eat a lot of food groups, you're not likely going to be able to go to the family dinners or go out with your friends or try a new restaurant. You're going to be meal planning and you're going to be prepping, and it's going to be completely on you. So you'll be reading a lot of labels on this. You'll be avoiding going out to eat, going over to family dinners, things like that. And you'll have to obsessively prep and plan all your meals because it's so restrictive. So from scratch. So it's super time consuming. So on a stress level, and it's not sustainable, not even for 30 days. I want you to think about it and ask anyone that's been on it. If you're watching this, let me know if you've ever done the Whole30. How was that for you to make all of these meals yourself, prep, plan? And think about people's social lives. It affects a lot. So unless you can get your friends to do it with you, then your social life will suffer. And I find this quite frequently. Like, people will tell me, like, I'm getting my spouse to go on this, or this group of girls, we're all doing this together. So it's kind of like misery loves company, you know, like we all have to go through this. So we can't go out. We can't enjoy our meals out. We have to meal prep and plan and do all of this stuff. Okay, the third con that I saw from this, in the book, it says no cheating. Okay, huge con. No cheating for 30 days is not very compassionate. Even if you have just a tiny bit of sugar, or you eat a bar that you realize has some ingredient in it that you weren't supposed to have, or maybe it has like a chickpea and that's a legume, you know, something like that. If you realize that on day 29, it's over. You have to go back to day 0 and start for 30 more days. So even if it's day 29, and I think this is really, really reinforcing that all or nothing mentality of dieting that we talk about a lot in the group. There's no research out there that has anything to do that says you need to do this for 30 days. There's not a lot of research behind any of the reasons for taking out these foods, honestly. Cheating, it puts a morality around food and the guilt and the shame that comes with that. So it's very black and white to say, like, that we cheat on something. How many of you guys can relate to this? Let me know. I mean, literally, you guys, it's not our spouse. It's hummus. It's a food. And I'm sitting here thinking about this, like, you can't even dig into hummus without thinking, like, this is bad. I've done something bad. So we're seriously going to make ourselves feel terrible if we eat hummus. I think this is something that the women that come to me struggle with the most after they've been dieting, is taking the morality out of food. Like, you're not bad because you ate something. You're not a bad person. I think it's really sad to see all the language in this program, in this book, when I look at this. So the author even said in the book that this isn't hard, that curing cancer is hard, and you should be able to do this for 30 days. And that puts a huge amount of shame on someone if, you know, they think they can't stick to this for that long. So at the end of the day, we're not good, we're not bad based off of any of the foods that we choose to eat. I'm not even going into the fact that it compared it to cancer, honestly. I think the amount of time and effort that you have to put into your food choices on the Whole30 can become really daunting, because you have to cut out sugar, you have to cut out alcohol, you have to cut out dairy, legumes, all of those things all at once. I just think it's a lot, and that kind of takes me into the fourth con, which talks about in the book, physical withdrawal symptoms. So they do try to prepare you for this in the book. They say that you should expect headaches, and you should expect fatigue. You should expect not wanting to get out of bed or being moody. So guys, I found this to be a huge con. Doesn't sound good to me at all. It's something to really be aware of. It's interesting to me, though, that caffeine is never cut out through this whole list of all of the foods that you can't eat. Caffeine was not mentioned. Coffee. So actually, that would be a pro in my book for this. So this idea of cutting out all these foods is just not balanced. And I see this happen quite a bit, these physical withdrawal symptoms, when we remove all of these foods at once. So one big thing that, question that comes to my mind is what happens after the 30 days. Okay, you've gone through 30 days, you've made it through. The book recommends a reintroduction of foods back in. So they want you to pay attention to signs and symptoms that your body might be having. And they do a pretty good job of laying all of this out in the book for you. As a dietitian, I can tell you that we don't use elimination diets, or I don't very much at all. I've used some forms of elimination when I'm working with clients that have specific GI disorders for very short periods of time, just so we can figure out what's going on, if ever. But if you do have some type of a GI challenge, I recommend that you work with someone and not try to figure this out on your own, because it can be really confusing. So if this is you and you have GI challenges, hit GI, type GI in the comments, and I can circle back to you. But I recommend that you work with someone, because it can be really confusing than trying to figure this out on your own. When you go into reintroduction, the book says you might let's just say you go back and you throw in beans, for example. You think they don't work for you, and you're really afraid, or maybe you think that dairy is something that's causing it. Maybe in your head you have a specific type of food and you know that this is what's causing it, or you think this might be what's causing it, and it comes time to reintroduce this food back into your diet. You guys, the gut-brain connection is real. It is real. So you can have digestive issues with foods. And I have a training coming up January 11th that talks about this and goes into this in more detail. But you can have digestive issues with foods because of your mindset around them and the stress that your mind puts on your body, thinking that this food is bad for you. So many women come to me after eliminating foods from their diet. And the more foods they eliminate, the more problems crop up. So when we go to add these foods back in, the fear is real. And I get it, because I see it all the time. So if this is you, I want you to type GI in the comments and let me know. So the Whole30 diet, it doesn't quite seem fair. It doesn't look at all of the factors that affect our health. I'm going to kind of tell you my honest opinion right now on it. It doesn't look at all the factors. It just kind of puts diet at the center of everything. And it makes diet really carry all the responsibility for our health. Nowhere in the book does it talk about focusing on sleep, maybe getting in some journaling or self-care, doing something to reduce our stress loads. None of that was mentioned. No responsibility was given to our mental health at all. So the book basically says, cut out these foods and you will reduce your food intolerances and you'll find food freedom. But it doesn't work like that. So I'm going to be really blunt with you about my thoughts in terms of this program. Cutting out food, it definitely does not improve your relationship with it. I have so many women that could tell you, not just me. In fact, it leads to more craziness, more preoccupation around these foods, and disordered eating or an eating disorder. So you guys, there's so much to focus on when improving your relationship with food. These are the times that I see clients for months and we don't even talk about food because it's so very little about the food. It's really not about the food. It's about perfectionism. It's about our need for worthiness, our need for control. And I think it's just unfair putting, healthy relationship with food around food alone. There's so much in terms of healing our relationship with ourselves and food and body that's so much more than just food. So I want to end the talk today with a case study. And I'm going to go into that right now. Maybe you've been on a Whole30, or maybe you know someone that has been on a Whole30. And when I'm talking through this case study, I want you to think about this person or think about yourself. If you have been there, if you've been on the Whole30, if you're thinking about going on it, I want you to really listen to what this person went through when she was on it. So I'm going to tell you about a past client that I've had, and her name is Emily. She was pretty stuck in diet mentality. She was looking for the next quick fix that would take care of her problems. She had a lot of disordered eating patterns since college. And so it drew her to the Whole30 because she wanted to heal her bloating, and she had what she thought were some food allergies, and she had low energy levels. So she was looking to bring her energy levels up. She told her friends and her family that she was doing this for allergies and she was doing this for bloating. She was definitely doing this for weight loss too. So she was doing it to feel superior. She struggled with perfectionism. She put a lot of work into her accomplishments. She put this on, a list of things that she needed to do to check off to feel more worthy. So she was going to do this Whole30. She got her husband on board to do this with her. And they planned out their whole entire month of, what they were going to eat, how they were going to do this, meal prepping, all of that. So they made sure it was a month that they had nothing else going on, because they knew that they'd have to put their life on hold for 30 days. So they waited for a month that was like good for them or worked for them, where they wouldn't have to see their friends or go to any parties or go out at all. And I think about when she told me this, I think about it and I'm thinking, how sad, to say that you have to have nothing going on in your life to be able to do this diet. But she didn't see it this way. So she was telling me about this, and she was so deep in her disordered eating at the time and beating herself up. So she lied to herself, and she told herself that this diet was going to be a really good thing for her. This diet was going to be something that her and her husband could do together, and it could bring them closer together during that time period. She would convince herself things like, well, we won't spend as much money going out. We'll be eating at home. There were all these pros in her mind to it that she didn't realize the cons that would come with it. So she did all the grocery shopping and the planning and the meal prepping, and she ended up actually spending more money because of all the grocery shopping that she had to do, and it was so time consuming. She spent her whole Sunday prepping and planning out meals. So every weekend also would go by so slow for her, she said, because people would say, hey, this is going on or that's going on, and they would have to cancel. So they wouldn't go out and do anything. So she was really obsessing about like all of the foods that she could or couldn't eat on this program. And over the weekends, she would try to distract her, and her husband would try to distract themselves. So they couldn't go out with their friends. They couldn't go downtown to events. They couldn't go out and go to any really social gatherings that involve food, because they didn't want to have to slip, for 30 days. They didn't want to slip. And they used to love things like going out for a beer or walking downtown and getting ice cream, things like that. So those things that they did together actually brought them closer together. And she began to miss their date nights together. She missed live music and going out with her friends. She also began to notice other things about herself physically. So she began to feel weak. She began to feel tired, and she felt hangry. Honestly, she told me that was the bottom line. She felt hangry a lot of the time. She said that, now in the book, it talks about this. It also says in the book that after so many days, you'll get this feeling of like tiger blood, which I think is what a lot of people describe when they talk about the keto diet, that they feel great and they feel this energy, this tiger blood thing. So she said that there were times when she felt spikes of energy, but it almost felt jittery. And for the most part, over the 30 days, she felt weak and she felt tired and hangry because she never felt as good, she said, as when she could let herself eat, honestly, carbs. So she did say that she felt so much better when she ate carbs. She thought the energy would come, so she stuck to it, but for her, it never did. So she told people she felt a lot better because she convinced herself she felt a lot better. She had tried keto, she had tried paleo, she had even tried vegan, but she always found ways to convince herself when she was going through something that she felt better. So looking back, she realized that she wasn't really doing anything that was making her feel better. In fact, it was actually making her as a whole feel worse. So if you're constantly trying to find something, the next shiny object to make yourself feel better, and it's this constant cycle of trying something else, trying something different, maybe month after month, or maybe years after years, and you're never feeling better, but you're constantly trying new things or trying it again, another round of this or going back to try this again, maybe it isn't the problem. It could be that it's the relationship with food that's the problem, and it needs healing, and diets don't heal this. So if you're constantly fixated on healing, this could be something to get curious about. Kind of ask yourself the questions. So with restrictions come binges. So in the afternoons, when Emily would feel really low or really tired or super hungry, or she'd want something, she would binge. And what she would binge on were nuts because they were allowed. So she would eat bags and bags of nuts. And this led to even more digestive issues because she was getting so much dietary fat now into her diet that it made it harder for her body to actually digest these nuts, on top of all the stress that the diet itself was causing her body. So let's talk about what happened when she came off the Whole30. Well, first of all, she was on cloud 9 when she came off of it. She went out that weekend, and what happened was she hit rock bottom. So she had pizza, she had ice cream, she drank wine. She ended up feeling awful physically, and she got really down on herself mentally. So she told me that she remembered thinking, what is wrong with me? I really thought this was going to help me have a better relationship with food, because it does say that in the book. It was supposed to help me with my food cravings. And she felt like she couldn't do anything right. And this for her was the moment that she came to work with me. And this was the moment when we recognized together that she had hit diet rock bottom. So what is diet rock bottom? It's really a feeling of defeat. It's the feeling when you've tried everything and you feel like there's something is wrong with you. It's just not working, but that's not true. It's not you, and it never was. It was the diets. So this led her to want to learn more about intuitive eating and truly find food freedom. So if this cycle sounds familiar to you, if this is something that you keep trying or you've tried in the past, let me know. Put diets in the comments. So if you try diets and you've tried to convince yourself that, you'll find a diet that is going to fix your energy levels, or it's going to fix your problems, and all of these things that you're desiring in terms of your health, this might be something to get curious about. And maybe you're in the right place if you're here with me today and you're watching this. So I'm really, really glad, first of all, that you're with me today and you're here. And I'm not going to leave you hanging. I want to talk about where Emily's at today. Now, where is Emily after we work together? Emily feels like, for once, there's a middle ground. Everything's not just black and white. There's no more extremes. Even though she doesn't have the high highs like she used to, she doesn't have those low lows either. So we call it living in the gray. When I talk with my clients and getting out of the black and white thinking, everything really now feels stable to her. And that goes for her moods. That goes for her energy levels. For people I work with, that goes for your hormones and your blood sugar levels. But not only that, she doesn't judge her body anymore. So she can actually look down at her body now. And if she's not feeling her best, if she's feeling sluggish, or if she's feeling tired, she can look down at her body and she can ask herself, what is it that you need right now? Just like she would a friend. So she treats her body like a friend, not an enemy. And I think it's just so nice when people tell me like they've come to this point, and I know that they don't have to go to those extremes anymore, and that they found freedom. So, final thought on Whole30 is, why would the Whole30 be harmful? And I have just a few points to go over with you. My first gut reaction is it's just downright unsustainable. I mean, I know some of you guys are going to watch this later, you're going to watch the replay, or you're watching it now and you're thinking, yeah, Wendy, but it's only for 30 days. And I hear that again and again and again, but it's still pretty unsustainable only for 30 days. Ask anyone that's ever been on it. Even then, going through that reintroduction of foods and going through what Emily went through on the Whole30, I wouldn't recommend this to anyone, even for a short period of time. So this is only going to harm your relationship with food further. It's only going to reinforce the idea that certain foods are good and certain foods are bad for you, and it encourages that all or nothing mentality. It takes you further and further and further away from trusting your own body and learning to care for your body as if it were your friend. Come home to your body, I say all the time. Learn what it feels like to be in your body. We call that embodiment. You treat your body like a friend, not like an enemy. Your body's not fighting you. So like, we talk about it like ending the truce, and in the food fight, the war with your body. So lastly, the Whole30 it continues to put us back through that diet cycle that I'm always talking about. It doesn't help you get out of that cycle at all. And so my final thoughts and my final takeaway are that I know many of you guys, if you're watching this, and I'm going to see if I have any comments here, I don't want to miss from you guys, but if you're watching this right now, I know many of you are still trying to find food freedom, trying to learn how to trust your body. And I just want you to know that I'm here to support you. So that's why I come on and educate every week for you guys. And I want you to know that finding food freedom is a process, and it takes time. It takes time to get there. It takes more than 30 days. The first step is learning to ditch that diet mentality, though. Don't forget about that gut-brain connection. It's huge. And even though something says it can help you with your digestive issues, if you choose to believe negative things about certain foods, there's going to be a ton of work to do when it comes to digestion and healing your relationship with food. So the Whole30 is not some magic program, and it's not going to fix all your problems if you have digestive issues, and it's definitely not going to heal your relationship with food. So I would love to hear from you if you've tried the Whole30, what it was like for you. So just give me an emoji in the comments if you have, and I'll circle back and chat with you if you've had an experience with Whole30. And if you would like me to break down another diet in January in the weeks coming up, let me know what diet you want me to break down. And I would love to put together another training on that and come back on and talk about that with you guys. So leave that in the comments today as well. Now, I hope you guys have a fabulous week, a wonderful holiday. And if you need help with anything, you know where to find me. Just send me a DM. Bye, guys.